truck pulled up beside me, and the man inside changed my direction forever. Dust kicked up like a whisper from hell under my sneakers, each step pounding the cracked asphalt of Route 17, that endless ribbon snaking through the pine-choked hills of upstate New York. Sweat stung my eyes, mixing with the salt of tears I hadn't let fall yet, and the air hung heavy with the sharp tang of sap and regret. 28 years old, and here I was, Alex Harper, graphic designer extraordinaire, or so my LinkedIn lied, hiking out of Willow Creek with nothing but a backpack stuffed with sketch pads, a half-eaten protein bar, and a heart cracked wider than the Grand Canyon. My boyfriend of 3 years, that smug tech bro from the city, had finally said it last night over lukewarm takeout. "You're you, Alex, too dreamy, too broke, too everything that's not my 5-year plan." Boom. Evicted from our overpriced Brooklyn walk-up, jobless after my freelance gigs dried up like autumn leaves, and now, thumb out for a ride that might never come. The main conflict? Me versus the straitjacket of my own life, unraveling thread by thread, screaming for a detour I couldn't map. A low rumble shattered the morning hush, gravel crunching like bones under tires. I froze, heart slamming against my ribs, as a battered Ford F-150 pulled up slow beside me, its engine idling with a throaty purr that vibrated through my soles. The window rolled down with a rusty whine, and there he was, framed in the cab like a scene from some forgotten Springsteen ballad. Jake Harlan, though I didn't know his name yet, all broad shoulders and sun-leathered skin under a faded Red Sox cap, maybe 35, with eyes like storm clouds rolling over the Hudson, gray and piercing. He leaned out, one tattooed forearm draped over the wheel, veins mapping stories I ached to read. "You look like you could use a lift, kid," he drawled, voice gravel rough from cigarettes and long hauls, carrying that easy twang of a upstate boy raised on diner coffee and factory shifts. Trucker, no doubt, hauling lumber from the mills up near Albany, judging by the pine needles stuck to his mud-splattered boots. I hesitated, breath catching in my throat, the kind of pause where the world tilts and you wonder if this is the fork in the road or the cliff's edge. His gaze held mine, not predatory, but really seeing, the frayed edges of my soul peeking through the forced smile. "Name's Jake. Hop in if you're not running from the law." A half-grin tugged his stubble-shadowed jaw, and damn if it didn't pull me like gravity. I climbed in, the door creaking shut behind me like a seal on fate, the cab enveloping me in leather worn soft as a lover's sigh, mingled with the faint musk of his cologne. Cedar and smoke, and the underlying bite of diesel. My backpack thudded to the floorboard, and as he shifted into gear, tires humming back to life, I felt the first real exhale in hours, deep and shuddering, like surfacing from a dive too long underwater. We rolled out, windows cracked to let in the rush of wind whipping through the pines, carrying whispers of needles rustling like secrets. He didn't pry at first, just fiddled with the radio until Johnny Cash's baritone filled the space, low and mournful. I hung my head and cried, fitting. I stole glances, his hands strong on the wheel, knuckles scarred from wrenches and winters, a silver wedding band glinting mockingly on his left ring finger, though something in his slumped posture screamed it was more ghost than vow. Divorced, maybe? Or worse. "So, where to?" he asked finally, eyes flicking my way, warm as the first sip of bourbon on a cold night. "Anywhere but here," I muttered, staring at the dashboard where a faded photo was tucked into the visor. A younger him with a towhead boy, maybe 8, grinning gap-toothed beside a fishing rod. His son? The pang hit me sideways, jealousy for a life unlived twisting with curiosity. Willow Creek's got nothing left for me. Lost my job, my guy. Everything. The words tumbled out, raw as roadkill, and I winced at my own vulnerability, cheeks heating under his steady gaze. He nodded slow, like he'd heard 1,000 confessions on this stretch of blacktop. Sounds like the universe's way of saying, "Turn left at the next star." A chuckle rumbled from his chest, deep and unforced, easing the knot in my gut. We talked then, halting at first, me spilling about pixel pushing for ungrateful clients, dreaming of gallery walls that never materialized. Him sharing halls through blizzards, the loneliness of empty cabs echoing with CB static. His laugh came easy when I joked about my ex's kale smoothies tasting like regret, and by the time we hit the State Line diner for greasy eggs and black coffee, steam curling like ghosts between us, I felt seen. Not fixed, not pitted, just held in the quiet spaces of his words. The rain started as we pushed west, fat drops smacking the windshield like accusations, wipers slashing rhythmic judgment. Thunder grumbled distant, vibrating the bench seat where our thighs brushed accidental on purpose, sending sparks up my spine. "Ever think about starting over?" he asked, voice dropping low over the storm's growl, fingers drumming the gear shift close enough I could trace the calluses with my eyes. "Every damn day," I thought, but said instead, "What if the map's wrong?" Our eyes met in the rear view, lightning flashing silver in his irises, and in that charged silence, something shifted, electric, unspoken, the air thickening with the scent of wet earth and possibility. He pulled over at a scenic overlook, engine ticking cool as the downpour eased to a patter. "Then you redraw it?" he murmured, turning to face me fully. His hand hovering near mine on the seat, warm breath mingling with mine in the close cab. My pulse thundered, louder than the retreating storm, as his thumb grazed my knuckle, tentative, testing. I didn't pull away. Instead, I leaned in, heart a wild drum, and our lips met soft at first, tasting of coffee and rain-slick hope, deepening into a hunger that clawed at the walls I'd built. His sigh against my mouth, rough and relieved, echoed the ache I'd carried too long. But as we broke apart, foreheads pressed, his eyes shadowed with old wars. It's complicated," he whispered, voice cracking like thunders after echo. Complicated. The word hung, heavy as the ring on his finger, hinting at storms we hadn't weathered yet. Little did I know, that kiss was the spark, and the highway ahead, a blaze waiting to consume us both. The cab felt smaller after that kiss, charged like the air before a lightning strike, every bump in the road jolting our knees together, sending aftershocks through my veins. Jake's hand lingered on the gear shift, knuckles white, as if anchoring himself against the pull. We drove in that delicious, dangerous quiet, the radio murmuring Merle Haggard tales of ramblin' men, while outside, the Adirondacks blurred into emerald waves under a sky scrubbed clean by the storm. My mind raced, replaying the salt stubble scrape of his jaw, the way his calloused palm cupped my neck like I was fragile glass. 28 and I'd kissed plenty, but this was collision, two lost souls rear-ending fate at 60 miles an hour. "Pull over again?" I ventured, voice husky, testing the waters as we crested a hill overlooking a valley dotted with farmhouses, their silos standing sentinel like chrome fingers to the sky. He glanced over, that half-grin flickering, eyes darkening with the same hunger gnawing at me. "Bad idea, Alex. Or the best one yet." Gravel crunched as he eased onto a dirt pullout, hidden by a thicket of maples turning early gold, leaves rustling soft applause. Engine off, the world shrank to us. The creak of the seat as he turned, the faint jingle of keys in his pocket, the quickened hitch in my breath mirroring his. This time, no hesitation. His mouth claimed mine fierce, tongues tangling in a dance of pent-up storms, hands roaming urgent over flannel and cotton, mapping contours like we'd been starved for touch our whole lives. I tasted the diner bacon on him, smoky and real, felt the heat radiating from his chest as buttons gave way under my fingers, revealing ink-black tattoos swirling across pecs honed by halls and heartbreak. A compass rose over his heart, pointing nowhere safe. He groaned low, a sound vibrating from his throat to my core, fingers threading my hair, tugging just enough to arch my back. "God, you feel like coming home," he murmured against my collarbone, nipping the skin there, drawing a gasp that fogged the window beside us. We didn't go all the way, not yet, not in a truck cab with the world waiting, but clothes rumpled, skin flushed, we clung in the afterglow. His head on my shoulder, breath sinking to the distant call of a loon on the lake below. Vulnerability cracked open then, words spilling like the creek we'd parked by, bubbling over rocks. He told me about Sarah, the high school sweetheart turned ex-wife, how the ring was habit, not hope, after she left with half the savings and full custody of their boy, Tommy, now 12 and living in Scranton with her new family. I see him weekends, Jake said, voice rough as sandpaper, thumb tracing idle circles on my thigh. But it's like hauling ghosts. Every mile reminds me what I lost. The pain etched his face, lines deepening like furrows in fallow earth, and I ached to smooth them, to whisper that losses make room for this, for us. I shared my scars too, the ex's betrayal slicing deeper than layoffs, how I'd fled Brooklyn's concrete cage for Willow Creek summers as a kid, chasing fireflies and freedom that always slipped away. I'm tired of sketching dreams I can't live, I confessed, voice breaking on a sigh, the cab's vinyl sticking warm to my back. He lifted my chin, eyes fierce. Ding living wifimi, just for today. Promise laced his words, fragile as the spiderweb dew on the windshield. And as we dressed slow, stealing kisses like contraband, I believed him. Believed in detours. Back on the blacktop, bellies full from a roadside barbecue joint. Ribs sticky with sauce that burned sweet on the tongue, coleslaw crisp and tangy. We laughed over nothing, his hand finding mine on the bench seat, fingers lacing easy as breathing. The sun dipped low, painting the cab in honeyed light, casting long shadows that danced with our secrets. But dusk brought whispers of doubt, the radio news crackling about a pile-up near Syracuse, a reminder that roads twist cruel. Jake's phone buzzed then, insistent as a hornet, Sarah's name flashing, her text a gut punch. Tommy's asking for you. Come home. His jaw tightened, grip slackening on the wheel, and I felt the chasm yawn between us, that complicated rearing its head like a hitchhiker thumbing the wrong way. Night's young, he said, forcing cheer, but his eyes betrayed the war. Loyalty to a sun pulling east, while this spark with me tugged west, toward Chicago where I'd mumbled about crashing with a cousin. We stopped at a mom-and-pop motel off exit 32, neon vacancy, buzzing pink against the twilight, the clerk's bell tinkling like a warning. Room 7 smelled of mothballs and fresh sheets, the bed sagging under our weight as we tumbled in, shedding layers like old skins. Here, in the dim glow of a bedside lamp, we explored unhurried. His mouth tracing my hip bones, eliciting shivers that raised gooseflesh. My nails raking his back, drawing a hiss of pleasure pain. Climax built slow, a crescendo of moans muffled in pillows, bodies slick and sinking until release crashed over us, leaving us tangled, spent, hearts hammering echoes. Lying thereafter, his arm heavy across my waist, breath warm on my neck, he whispered dreams. Quitting the long hauls for local routes, maybe opening a garage in some sleepy town where we could build something real. You draw the signs, I'll fix the trucks, he joked, voice thick with sleep. But I heard the undercurrent of fear, the what-ifs clawing at dawn. Outside, crickets chorused relentless, a soundtrack to the precipice we teetered on. As his snores evened out, soft and vulnerable, I stared at the ceiling cracks spidering like my resolve, wondering if love was a rest stop or a wreck waiting. Morning light filtered through thin curtains, coffee brewing pungent in the pot, steam curling like question marks. We packed quiet, the air thick with unspoken tomorrows, his kiss at the door lingering fierce, tasting of goodbye. Follow your direction, Alex, but if it bends back. He trailed off, pressing a scrap of paper into my palm. His number scrawled in block letters, smudged with grease. The truck roared to life, taillights fading into the mist, leaving me on the motel's gravel, backpack heavier with hope's weight. Hitchhiking again, thumb out to strangers, but now with his scent clinging to my skin, cedar and smoke, a compass pointing true. Little did I know the road's next curve would test if we'd swerve together or shatter apart. Hitch after hitch blurred into a montage of Americana. A chatty sales rep in a Prius droning about stocks, dropping me at a truck stop where diesel fumes hung thick as fog, the sizzle of fries from the grill twisting my empty gut. My phone buzzed sporadic, Jake's texts pinging like lifelines. Missed that laugh already. Safe? I'd reply with emojis and half-truths, sketching his profile in margins while semis idled thunderous around me. 3 days west, the flatlands of Ohio unspooling endless, cornstalks whispering judgments in the wind, and doubt crept in like humidity. Was that night a fever dream, or the realest thing I'd touched? 28 felt ancient suddenly, milestones mocking from the rear view of every passing car. Then, Pittsburgh's steel ghosts loomed, bridges arching like defiant spines over the Allegheny, and my cousin's couch welcomed me with stale pizza and sarcasm. "You look like hell warmed over," Mark grunted, tossing me a beer, foam hissing over the can's edge as we crashed on his balcony. City lights twinkling indifferent below. I spilled it all over IPAs, the truck, the kiss, the man who felt like a plot twist in my stalled script. Mark, ever the pragmatist with his IT badge and beer gut, snorted. "Sounds like a rebound with rust. What's he really offering? A cab ride to regret?" His words stung sharp as bottle caps underfoot, but they lodged, festering as I job hunted online, pixels blurring through bleary eyes. A week in, Jake's call came at midnight, his voice crackling over bad signal like a vinyl skip. "Tommy's got a game tomorrow. You ever play ball as a kid?" We talked hours. His son's awkward swing, my little league strikes that never connected, laughter bridging miles, his sigh at the end heavy with longing. "Wish you were here," sketching the sidelines. Heat flushed me, imagining it. Us on bleachers, his arm casual around my shoulders, the crowd's roar drowning doubts. "Come find me," I whispered, bold in the dark, heart a freight train. Silence stretched, taut as guitar strings. Then his exhale, "Working on it." But life revved cruel. Freelance gigs trickled in, deadlines chaining me to Mark's desk, sketches of Jake's compass tattoo evolving into full concepts for a gallery pitch that felt like grasping smoke. Nights, I traced the number on my thigh with a marker, fading ink a metaphor for us, until one evening, pounding rain sheeting the windows like tears, he appeared. Not announced, just there. Soaked to the bone on the stoop, truck parked crooked under a street lamp, eyes wild with road weariness and want. "Couldn't stay away?" he growled, pulling me into the downpour. Our kiss desperate, water sluicing between us, tasting of asphalt and ache. Upstairs, Mark tactfully vanished to a bar, leaving the apartment humming with our urgency. Clothes peeled off in a trail to the bedroom, his body a landscape of scars and strength. The faded stretch marks from hauling, the bullet-shaped burn on his shoulder from a mill accident he downplayed. We moved fervent, skin slapping rhythmic against the storm's base, his whispers gravelly prayers in my ear. "Need you, Alex." Like air. Climax ripped through us synced, bodies arching in unison, leaving us gasping, limbs entwined as thunder rolled approval. After, in the quiet patter on the roof, he confessed the pull Sarah's texts turning icy. Tommy's questions about daddy's friend, stirring guilt's hornet nest. She knows something's shifted, threatened to cut visits. His voice cracked, fingers clenching the sheet, and I held him then, stroking his back slow, murmuring, "We'll fight for it, together." Days blurred into a stolen idyll, mornings with coffee steaming on the fire escape. His laugh booming as I sketched him reading the sports page, cap tilted rakish. Afternoons wandering the strip district, market stalls overflowing with pierogi and produce, his hand brushing mine in crowds, electric secrets. Evenings we'd cook, him grilling steaks charred just right, smoky char mingling with garlic butter, me chopping veggies with a flourish that earned eye rolls and kisses. Sex wove through it all, playful in the shower, steam fogging mirrors as water cascaded. His hands soaping my chest reverent. Intense on the living room rug, carpet burn a badge of abandon. But undercurrents swirled, His phone silenced but vibrating ghosts. My inbox filling with rejection emails that echoed my fears. Too queer for corporate gigs. Too broke for bold moves. The climax brewed slow, a storm front gathering. One night, over takeout lo mein tangled on chopsticks, Tommy's photo on Jake's lock screen stared accusatory. Bring me along, I suggested, heart pounding. Let him see the real you. Jake's fork paused midair, noodles dripping sauce like blood, eyes storming. He's 10, Alex. Not ready for this. The word hung, weaponized, this our love reduced to a phase. Hurt flared hot in my chest, words tumbling sharp. Or are you not? Silence crashed, heavier than the rain resuming outside. His chair scraping back as he stormed to the balcony, door slamming echo. I followed, rain misting us both, voices rising over the downpour. I've lost everything once. Can't risk him, he yelled, face twisted in torment, hands raking his wet hair. But losing you? It's carving me hollow. Tears mixed with rain on his cheeks, and mine joined, the fight fracturing into fierce embrace, sobs racking us as lightning forked the sky. We made love there, urgent against the railing, the city's pulse below witnessing our raw union. His thrusts desperate, my cries swallowed in his neck, release a cathartic flood washing doubts downstream. Dawn brought fragile peace, curled in sheets damp with sweat and storm, his head on my chest, heartbeat steady under my palm. We'll figure the map, he murmured, fingers tracing my ribs like constellations. But as he dressed for the drive home, promising weekends, holidays, a call shattered it. Sarah, hysterical, Tommy in the ER after a fall from his bike. Nothing major but enough to yank Jake east, face ashen. Go, I urged, kissing him fierce at the door, tasting fear. I'll be here. His truck taillights blurred through tears as he vanished into the gray, leaving me adrift again, the apartment echoing empty, love's highway suddenly potholed with peril. Weeks stretched like taffy, sticky and sweet-tart with absence. Jake's texts daily anchors. Tommy's fine, stitches out. Thinking of your hands. I'd reply with voice notes, my laugh forced over the static, sketching truck cabs and tangled sheets to keep him close. Pittsburgh's grit ground on, freelance checks barely covering Mark's rent hikes, my portfolio swelling with concepts that screamed unfulfilled. A series on detours, silhouettes of lovers against horizons, rejected by galleries deeming them too niche. Queer art in straight-laced America. Always the side road, never the expressway. Nights, I'd prowl bars in the neighborhood, Liberty Avenue pulsing with neon and bass, bodies grinding under strobes, but every flirt felt like betrayal, their touches hollow echoes of his. Then, the package arrived. Unmarked, postmarked Albany, a sketchpad inside, pages filled with his scrawls. Crude drawings of us, stick figure me in the cab, hearts ballooning absurd. Tucked in back, a note, redraw our map. Chicago, October 15th. I'll drive. My breath hitched, a sob laugh escaping as I traced his blocky letters, the scent of pine clinging to the paper like his cologne. October 15th, 3 weeks out, a beacon. I quit stalling, emailing pitches with fire, landing a gig designing for a queer lit festival in the Windy City, the acceptance email chiming like victory bells. Mark clapped my back over beers, foam sloshing. About time you chased the truck, not the tailpipe. The drive to Chicago was solo purgatory. Greyhounds hum droning my doubts, window glass cool against my temple as farms gave way to lakefront sprawl. Heart hammered arrival day, backpack slung as I scanned the terminal, pulse sinking to the PA's garble. There, Jake, leaning on a pillar, cap low, flannel rumpled from the hall, eyes lighting like lighthouses when they found mine. We collided wordless, his arms crushing me close, mouth hot and claiming amid the bustle, travelers blurring into irrelevance. Missed this, he growled into my hair, hands framing my face, thumbs swiping tears I hadn't noticed. The kiss deepened, Airport din fading to our shared breaths, ragged and real. We holed up in a Lakeview walk-up I'd sublet, narrow but ours, windows framing the L's rattle, kitchenette stocked with takeout staples. First night, candles flickering shadows on brick walls. We cooked pasta al dente, sauce bubbling garlicky rich, wine loosening tongues. Over plates, he unfolded the interim hell. Sarah's lawyer letters demanding alimony hikes, Tommy's confusion manifesting in schoolyard fights, Jake mediating with a father's frayed rope. Told him about a special friend, he admitted, fork twirling noodles slow. Said you're an artist who makes dad smile. Pride swelled me, mixed with terror. Was I poison or potion? My turn. The rejections, the bar nights that tasted like ash. How his drawings had been my North Star. You're my direction, I said, voice thick, reaching across the table, our fingers linking grease slick. Bed claimed us after, sheets twisting in fervor. His weight pinning me delicious, hips grinding deliberate, eliciting moans that bounced off the ceiling fan's lazy spin. We explored languid this time, his tongue mapping my navel, drawing arches from my spine. My teeth grazing his inner thigh, earning a curse hiss that spurred me on. Release built tidal, crashing in waves that left us quaking. Afterglow whispers weaving futures. Him selling the truck for a delivery van gig, me illustrating queer graphic novels. But morning brought the serpent, a voicemail from Sarah. Venomous. Keep your boyfriend away from my son, or no more visits. Jake's face drained, phone clattering to the counter like a gauntlet. Conflict erupted over cereal bowls, milk curdling untouched. She's bluffing? I argued, pulse racing, but his eyes stormed. It's not a game, Alex. Tommy's my blood. Words escalated, accusations flying. Me calling him chained to the past. Him accusing me of naivete, voices echoing down the hall till neighbors thumped walls. He stormed out, door slamming thunder, leaving me pacing, fists clenched, the apartment shrinking claustrophobic. Hours later, he returned, rain lashed again, eyes red-rimmed. Called my lawyer, filing for joint everything, including you in the picture. Shock rooted me, then joy exploded, pulling him close, our makeup frantic against the fridge, magnets clattering as his hands hiked my shirt, thrusts urgent and affirming. We ventured out healed, Chicago's pulse sinking hours. Art Institute afternoons, his awe at Monet's murmured in my ear, fingers brushing in hushed galleries. Navy Pier evenings, Ferris wheel creaking slow as we kissed at the apex, city lights sprawling like promises below. Sex infused it all. Playful in Grant Park under stars, blankets muffling gasps. Intense in the bathroom, steam thick as his groans, showerhead pulsing counterpoint. But undercurrents tugged. Tommy's upcoming birthday, Jake's guilt gnawing like termites. One night, over deep dish pizza, cheese stretching gooey strings, he voiced it. Invite you to the party? Risk her meltdown. I nodded, throat tight. For him. For us. The drive east was joint. My hand on his thigh over states. Radio crooning Willie Nelson laments. Scranton loomed. Row houses huddled under coal sky clouds. And Sarah's bungalow waited, porch light accusatory. Tommy answered the door, gangly now at 12, braces glinting in a shy grin. Dad's friend? He asked, fist bumping me awkward, and Jake's beam cracked my chest wide. The party unfolded chaotic. Cake frosting smeared, piñata whacking explosive candy rain. Tommy's laughter a bomb, his side-eye questions. You draw trucks? Cool. Easing tensions. Sarah hovered peripheral, lips pursed, but held fire till cleanup, cornering Jake in the kitchen. This ends now or court? Her whisper carried, knife sharp, and I froze in the hall, heart plummeting. Jake's roar followed. It's not ending, Sarah. It's starting. Plates rattling, Tommy's wide eyes peeking from stairs. She stormed out, door banging final, leaving us shell-shocked. That night, in Jake's sparse trailer, air thick with motor oil and tension. We held Tommy between us on the couch, cartoons flickering blue, his head lolling asleep on my shoulder. Jake's gaze met mine over the boy's curls, gratitude fierce, and as we tucked him in, small hand clutching mine, I knew. This was family, jagged but ours. But dawn brought her retaliation. A process server's knock, papers slapping Jake's palm like judgment. The fight for forever had just ignited, flames licking high. Court dates loomed like thunderheads over Scranton, the Lehigh Valley's valleys echoing with our whispered strategies in late-night calls. Jake's voice tinny over spotty cell, mine hoarse from freelance marathons back in Chicago, pixels blurring into pleas for stability. I'd shuttle weekends, Amtrak sway lulling me into sketches of Tommy's earnest face, braces winking in charcoal lines, while Jake wrestled lawyers in suits starched stiffer than his resolve. Money strained thin, my gigs sporadic, his hauls cut short by depositions. Ramen nights in his trailer, steam rising salty as our frustrations, bodies seeking solace in tangled sheets, his thrusts a defiant rhythm against the world's grind. Sarah's warpath scorched, affidavits painting me the villain, disruptive influence on a fragile boy, her lawyer's briefs dripping venom. Jake countered fierce, depositions detailing her bar tabs and boyfriends. But each hearing chipped us, judge's gavel cracking like bones. One afternoon, post-ruling stalemate, Tommy clung to Jake's leg in the courthouse hall, fluorescent buzz harsh overhead, whispering, "Don't let her take you away." The kid's voice, small and seismic, undiduous. Jake scooping him up, tears streaking his stubble, me fighting sobs in the bathroom mirror, fists pounding tile till knuckles split red. We pivoted then, love's grit forging armor. I poured it into art, a zine series, Highway Hearts, self-published dog-eared tales of queer detours. Jake's truck cameoed anonymous but alive. Sales trickled at Chicago Pride Fests, rainbow flags snapping proud, supporters' nods fueling fire. Jake, inspired, moonlighted a blog, Hauler's Hopes, raw posts on fatherhood's bends. Tommy's doodles scanned in, drawing commenters who cheered our corner. Intimacy deepened in stolen pockets. A motel tryst en route, neon no vacancy, mocking neighbors as we muffled moans in thin walls. A dawn hike in the Poconos, dew-kissed ferns brushing calves, his mouth hot on me against a boulder, birdsong our chorus. Climax crested mid-trial, Sarah's cross-exam ambush. Parading an ex of mine, a one-night blur from Pittsburgh bars, to smear my instability. The courtroom air thickened, wood-paneled and stale, her smirk triumphant as he stammered half-truths under oath. Jake's eyes met mine across the aisle, storm-gray fury, and when recess hit, he yanked me into a stairwell, kiss bruising, hands pinning wrists. "You're mine, past be damned," he growled, forehead to mine, breaths ragged. We didn't wait. Back at the trailer that eve, Tommy at a sleepover, fury transmuted to fire. Clothes shredded, his teeth marking my shoulder, my nails carving crescents down his spine. Union savage and sacred, release a roar that shook the single-wide's frame. Testimony turned then. Tommy, 12 and poised, taking the stand in a too-big polo, voice steady. "Alex makes Dad happy, makes us laugh. He's family." The gallery hushed, Sarah's facade cracking, tears silent on her cheeks. Judge adjourned pensive, and waiting dragged eternal. Coffee going cold in styrofoam, Jake's hand vice-tight in mine. Verdict dropped like a semi's air brakes. Joint custody, supervised starts, but us, affirmed, woven in. Elation exploded in the parking lot, Jake hoisting me against the truck, kiss whooping amid honks, Tommy's cheers from the cab piercing joy. But victory bittersweet. Sarah's glare as she signed papers, venom vowing appeals. My Chicago lease expiring, roots pulling dual ways. We drove west that night, windows down, wind whipping whoops, diner stop for pancakes stacked fluffy, syrup dripping gold, Tommy quizzing me on art till yawns won. In the cab's back seat, he conked out, head lolling, while up front, Jake's fingers traced my knee, eyes soft. Build with me, he murmured, over engine's hum. Trailers small, but ours. Heart swelled. I nodded, sketching futures in the dashboard glow. Gallery shows in Albany, family halls to the shore. Months molded us, me relocating hybrid, Chicago visits fueling zine expansions, Jake's garage gig steadying coffers. Sex evolved intimate. Lazy Sundays, sunlight slanting gold on bare skin. His lazy grins as I rode him slow. Hurried weeknights, post-dinner dishes steaming, bent over the counter, his whispers filthy sweet in my ear. Tommy bloomed, braces off in a flash of grin, calling me Alex Easy. Our trio hiking rail trails, leaves crunching autumnal, laughter echoing free. Yet shadows lingered, Sarah's appeal filing, a specter. My art's slow burn, doubts whispering inadequacy. One eve, over spaghetti twirled on forks, Tommy piping dreams of space camp, Jake's phone lit with her demand. Mediation or war? Tension snapped, fork clattering, Jake's chair shoving back. Enough, he thundered, face thunderous. I rose, hand on his arm, steadying. We face it, all of us. Tommy nodded solemn, small fist bumping mine. And in that kitchen lit warm by pendant glow, resolve hardened. Love wasn't detour, but the damn road itself. The mediation loomed, a steel mill of emotions, but we'd arrive armored. Jake's grip firm, Tommy's sketch of our team truck, tucked in my pocket, a talisman against tempests. As we prepped, bodies entwined post-bedtime story, his sigh against my neck profound. You changed everything, Alex. Directions clear now. Release followed tender, bodies undulating wave-like. Afterglow a vow sealed in sweat-slick skin. Outside, stars wheeled indifferent, but inside, our constellation burned bright, unyielding. Mediation morning dawned crisp, frost etching the trailer's windows like lace veils over secrets, coffee brewing bitter strong to steel nerves. Jake paced the linoleum, boots scuffing worn paths, tie askew on his flannel like a rebel flag, while Tommy fidgeted with Legos, building a truck fortress against the coffee table's edge. I knelt beside him, sketching quick, our cab as a castle, turrets of toolbox and tire, his giggles bubbling relief. For luck, I said, handing him the page, our hug fierce, small arms squeezing my waist. Jake paused, eyes softening, pulling us both into a huddle, foreheads touching triangle. Team Harlan Harper. Unbreakable. The words hummed, a mantra against the chill wind rattling the door as we piled into the truck, heater blasting warm defiance. The conference room reeked of stale bureaucracy. Fluorescent hum, manila folders stacked like accusations. Sarah across the oak table, her lawyer a shark in pinstripes. She looked diminished, circles under eyes like bruises, but her gaze speared me cold. Opening salvos flew, custody splits dissected, her pleas for stability laced with barbs at my nomadic lifestyle. Jake's rebuttal roared measured. Stability's love, not labels. Alex is that. For me, for Tommy. Voices rose, mediator's gavel rapping like a judge's warning. But Tommy's pre-recorded video played then. Kid on camera, Ernest in his room, posters curling at edges. Mom, I love you, but Dad's happy now. Alex draws with me. Please. Silence swallowed the room, Sarah's hand trembling on the table, a sob escaping unbidden. Break called, hallways echoing footsteps, Jake cornering me in a vending machine alcove, kiss urgent, chocolate bar forgotten in his pocket crinkle. Proud of you, he breathed, palm cupping my jaw, thumb swiping my lip. Heat flared instant, but duty yanked us back, session resuming frayed. Concessions trickled, joint holidays, therapy mandates, till Sarah cracked, voice splintering. For him, not you. Papers signed shaky, pens scratching finality, and as we rose, Her eyes met mine fleeting. Not warmth, but truce. A nod acknowledging the man I'd become in her son's orbit. Elation hit the parking lot. Tommy whooping cannonball into puddles, splashing Jake's jeans, my laughter joining as we spun him airborne. Drive home blurred joyous. Radio blasting Springsteen anthems, windows down to Autumn Bite, leaves spiraling confetti. Lunch at the diner, booths vinyl cracked, burgers juicy with grease-sheen onions. Tommy regaling with Lego epics till ketchup smeared his grin. Afternoon melted lazy. Raking yard leaves into piles crunchy as cereal. Diving in tumbleweed. Jake's tackle pinning me breathless. Kiss tasting of earth and exertion. Evening wove intimate. Spaghetti again. Sauce simmering basil deep. Tommy's homework sprawled amid crayons. Bedtime ritual hours now. Story of star-chasing trucks. His yawns sinking to page turns. Tucking with whispers of tomorrow's fishing. Alone then, trailer humming quiet, Jake and I slow dance to the fridge's hum. His hands splaying my back, mouth nuzzling my temple. Forever starts here, he murmured, leading to bed, undressing reverent, shirt peeled slow, revealing tattoos I'd memorized, my lips following the ink's trail, lovemaking unfolded poem. His fingers interlacing mine overhead, thrusts measured deep, eyes locked in soul-bearing gaze, breaths mingling sighs of surrender. Climax crested shared, a symphony of gasps and groans, bodies quaking unified, afterglow limbs entwined, hearts drumming duet. Months unfurled golden, my zine hitting indie shelves, covers embossed with compass roses, reviews praising raw detours of the heart. Jake's garage thriving, hands perpetually grease-black but home by 6, suppers steaming communal. Tommy's braces-free beam-lit birthdays, his art echoing mine. Family portraits in marker, us 3 haloed. Sarah's softened edges, drop-offs cordial. Even a picnic truce where she murmured, "He glows because of you." Conflicts lingered minor. My Chicago pulls for launches, Jake's night shift stealing sleep. But we navigated, date nights in Albany bistros, candlewax drips sealing vows, or trailer movie marathons, popcorn kernels crunching underfoot, his head on my lap. One spring dawn, Route 17's curve calling nostalgic, we loaded the truck. Tommy shotgun with rod and tackle, me in back sketching the vista. Jake's eyes caught mine in the mirror, wink promising eternity. Directions ours. He called over engine growl, hand reaching back to squeeze. Wind rushed welcome, pines sighing benediction, and as the highway unspooled, I knew. The man in the truck hadn't just changed my path. He'd redrawn the stars, guiding us home. Love, dramatic and dogged, wasn't a pull-up beside. It was the ride, forever forward, tires humming hallelujahs. In the end, as sunset bled orange over the hills, Tommy's whoop at the first catch piercing air, Jake's laugh booming bass, my heart full we'd arrived. Not perfect, but profoundly ours. A direction etched in sweat, sighs, and unyielding grip. Together, always.